Hey, what's happening, my YouTube friends and family? Hope everyone's doing well. I promised I'd try and get you guys out a load board review. Um, Honestly, I'm just not sure what's going on with these people. But let's jump into it, see what we can see. First thing you'll notice is when you click on the load board, instead of it showing you the search, it dumps you into post a truck. And so what people are commenting on Facebook may be true. They're 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 trying to get everything to go through post a truck, which kind of takes a lot of the control out of your hands, puts it back in theirs. When I did book loads with Amazon, I would wait till the last possible minute to book these loads, and I would get much better rate than, I would get better rates with Amazon than you would get digging through a load board trying to get brokered loads. And of course, Amazon's on a pay schedule. They pay you the following week. And so for a little while there, Amazon to me was worth the frustration that comes with Amazon, the canceled trips, the delays at FTW1, that kind of stuff. But I don't think it's worth it at this point. I don't think for what they're making available, I wouldn't haul for them. I look, but I don't see anything worth my time. So now you have to click at the top here to go to search. We'll go ahead and get rid of these. And so this is just kind of defaulting, but let's pick some places to look at. I have a friend that is interested in the Phoenix area and doesn't look too promising. Oh, but that only shows round trips. Yeah, see, the new application doesn't work as well. So now we're showing more that still didn't do anything. There's got to be more activity than that over there. Just making sure I don't have any other filters. Okay, so there are a handful of loads in Phoenix. There's a total of 7. So the first one is a Teams load. I'm gonna say there's a glitch there because between Phoenix and Tracy, California, it's more than 10 miles. It's a team load. Let's pause that. So I'm gonna say the first one's got a major glitch. I wouldn't consider that just because I think it's a glitch. So the next load is from Phoenix to San Marcos, Texas. San Marcos is over there by San Antonio, if I remember correctly. It's 1,000 miles, and the load pays $281 per mile, so $2,800 for teams. That's better than what Amazon has paid in the past, but of course, it's one of those things where that needs to load tonight, and so they're dangling the carrot because now they're in a bind for the truck. So there's another one from Phoenix to Dallas number 2. I've been to that facility. That is actually a facility where Amazon loads the Prime jets from. So you deliver there, and then Amazon puts it on a plane. So if they're trucking it from Phoenix to Dallas Fort Worth, what's probably happening there is it's going on an international plane leaving the country. I've been there a couple times and spoke with someone. A lot of the Amazon branded stuff goes through that facility. So if you've ever bought something that says Amazon on it, it typically comes through that facility. Anyway, so here's another one from Phoenix to Oklahoma City. 280 a mile for teams. You know, again, that's not too bad compared to what they were doing to your team drivers before. They used to have them down in the $1.50 a mile. I'd be curious to see if there's any return loads or loads to keep you moving once you're there. Here's another one from Phoenix to Aurora, Colorado, $2.56 a mile for 920 miles, also a team load. There's one from Phoenix to Sumner, Washington. That's $14.78 on the miles, 282 per mile. That seems to be like the common rate right now, at least out of the Phoenix area. So it's $41.64 for the trip. You do it in, let's say, 3 days. I can book better paying loads on the outside. That still doesn't make any sense. At least to me it doesn't. And so here's another team load. Looks like that's all that's going to be in the Phoenix area. Team load going also to Aurora, Colorado, $2.57. Looks like an exact duplicate of this other one. Nope. What's different here? Oh, no, with that one. Anyway, and so this one's outside of the very bottom one. It's outside of the radius we had set, but typically they show you, other loads that are a little bit further. So if you're in the Phoenix area, at least what's available on the load board, this appears to be the only box truck load, and that one is a very short load, 13.4 miles, and it looks like it's going from one of their facilities to one of their facilities, not to a post office. And so it pays almost $300 for 3 hours worth of work. It's not too shabby, actually. I don't know if there's work in that area every day for a truck, but if you're interested in the Phoenix market, the only way you can really see what's available, or the only way you can actually book a load, is to do post a truck. And so that's kind of what I was commenting before. Not really sure if my videos are going to be helpful anymore, simply because of that fact. I would have to physically post a truck, and all I would get is one load assigned to me, and then obviously I would turn it down because these loads don't make sense to me. And so we're going to check out the Fort Worth area, 100-mile radius. And so this shows a total of 16 loads, which is low for that area. Again, I think a bunch of loads are being put into post a truck. So here is a load from Dallas, Texas, heading to DAL number 2. So it's only a 31-mile load, trailer required. They're paying $636. They say it's going to take you 2.5 hours. Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on that. And so here's another one. Looks like a duplicate of the first one. And yet another one. So these appear to be all the same thing, but on different days. We're into Tuesday, Wednesday. And so that's kind of what they have to offer in Dallas. This one's different. So this one is a round trip, power only, 140 miles. It'll take you 11 hours and 32 minutes, basically the whole day. And for your whole day worth of running 140 miles, you'll get $440. I honestly don't start my truck for less than $1,000. And we shoot to make closer to $2,000 a day. So, that to me just isn't money. So here's another one that duplicates the first ones. And that's it for the Dallas area. Oklahoma City, which is outside of the filter we set, but it shows it to us anyways. There's a trailer required going from Oklahoma City to Missouri. It is 294 miles. According to them, it'll take you almost 7 hours to do it, and at $3.51 a mile. You know, that's probably the best paying load in the whole Dallas market, unfortunately. But me personally, when a load is somewhere between 300 and 500 miles, that right now in today's market with today's fuel cost should be in the neighborhood of $5 a mile. And so, you know, this load needs to be closer to $1,500, my opinion. Anyway, so let's move on. Ontario is basically the LA market. You know, in the past this would have a couple hundred loads. So there's 18 loads. There is a power only load from Burbank to Bakersfield at $3.64 a mile. Let me make sure this is set on pause. It is. There's a Moreno Valley to Moreno Valley. Basically, it's a round trip. 71 miles. It'll take you 4 hours and 6 minutes, and it's going to pay you a whopping $247. There appears to be, this one's different. This one's Rialto to Rialto LGB 7. I've never been able to get in and out of there quickly. So this one is 467 miles at $1.60 a mile. How about a big no thank you for that? Here is Paris to Houston. It's a Teams load, power only. So you're looking at $14.94 on the miles, paying $275 or $4,100. That's closer to being fair because you're only providing your truck, and you know it's close to $3 a mile. I'll give you guys a comparison. We have a truck, the truck I used to drive, in fact, 744. My new driver Diane is in it, and she pulled a load out of Southern California, probably within 20 miles of that Amazon location, and she's going to Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana to be exact. It's a 2,000 mile run, and we're getting $8,500. So, you know, if you divide that in half, you know, however you want to slice that, divide that in half. So you could say we're getting like $4,200 for 1,000 miles, and this is 1,500 miles. But of course, an Amazon load is probably going to be a little lighter. I think we were 20,000 pounds on the weight, and we had to provide a trailer instead of this is, you know, a power only. And so, you know, take that with a grain of salt, however you want to compare that. Here is a Rialto LGB 8 to Akron, Ohio. This is a power only Teams load, $241 per mile. This is probably more comparable to the load we're doing because they're both kind of in the Midwest. Of course, it's taking us longer to make our run because it's single driver versus this is Teams. So you'll make more money faster with this particular load. But, you know, at 2,000 miles, we're still getting $8,500 as compared to this $5,584. You can see why I don't haul for Amazon. I get better money through my dispatch service. So here is San Bernardino to Jacksonville, Florida. I've never been to SBD3, so I cannot speak to what they're like if there's a long wait. I have found usually when you're doing power only and you show up to grab a loaded trailer, for me, most of the time, everything was ready and it was just you hooked up and you left. The biggest thing that could hold you up in a situation like that is something is wrong with the trailer, such as it has a flat, lights don't work, something like that. So you should get in and out of there pretty quick. Jack's 3, I've never been to. In fact, I've never been to the state of Florida, period. So this is 2,359 miles at $254 per mile, just under $6,000. You know, again, I'm getting way more money than that for less miles. And I'm not going to Florida, which is a really dry market. So there is ONT8 in Moreno Valley. Coming back to ONT8, this is a one-day load. It's only 23 miles, but it says there's 7 stops. So you're probably going back and forth between a lot of their... So there's ONT8 to KRB8, KRB back to ONT, ONT back to KRB, LRB4 to LGB9. And so yeah, you're going to be doing a whole bunch of little back and forth. Can show you guys what that looks like. The map looks like it changed a little bit. It's kind of hard to see them, but they're 4 and they're here on different sides of the airport. Anyway, and so for 23 miles, 9 hours worth of work, you'll get almost $400, and so that's pretty close to being $40 an hour. I've said it before, you know, as an employee, I made the equivalent to over $30 an hour without having to provide all the insurance and equipment and wear and tear. And so to me, it's just not good business putting a truck out there for, you know, $40 an hour. Anyway, so here's another little round trip. This one is 474 on the miles. They say you can do that in 13 hours and 31 minutes. That is kind of pushing it because it's California and speed limit is lower. $1.67 a mile, which is very cheap. And for all your work, you'll get just under $800 $800 total. Here's a duplicate of that. It looks like no, actually it's different, but it's another round trip, power only, 474 on the miles, 137 per mile, for a payout of $648. Here is another one, 474. This one was one that was locked up for some reason. They just released it, $1.37 a mile. That one came out of what they call early access. So here is Norco to Fontana, 27.8 miles. They say it'll take you just under 2 hours to do it, and it pays $257. You know, if you could really pull that off in that much time, and if you could get a few of those loads, you might make a day out of that. So here's another Norco to Fontana. This one pays a little less, but it's 27.8 miles at $834 per mile to $232 total payout. Here's another one, same thing. There's another little short one, 2 hours worth of work for $232. You know, if you could daisy chain some of these together, you know, and you could pull off 4 or 5 of these, you might make a day out of it. And the upside would be your mileage would be so low that, you know, your fuel consumption would benefit you. You know, if you could do let's say 4 or 5 of these and do under 150 miles for the day, but still bill, you know, over $1,000. It'd be a lot of hustle, but it'd be profitable. Anyway, so here's another, this one's Corona to Fontana, 23 miles, paying $9.91 per mile for a total of $232. Now, of course, we got to remember, this is the Inland Empire, and getting around, the traffic there can kill this whole idea. So here's another Norco to Fontana. This one's paying a little bit less. This one takes just under 2 hours to do, and you know, we're like a week out now. So I mean, all of those loads were spread out over the course of a week. They weren't all for today or tomorrow. So there's a Henderson. I guess we're just trying to show something close by. There's a couple leaving Henderson. They're team loads, $280 a mile for almost 2,000 miles on the first one. The second one is 1,197 miles at $258 a mile. That's going to FTW6. FTW6 I've been to. They are way better than FTW1. If you have to go to Dallas, even though it says Grapevine, Texas, it's literally like 10 miles from FTW1. I'd rather go to FTW6 than FTW1 any day. Anyway, so that is our Dallas. All right, sorry about the little pause there. I had to get something to drink. And let's look at, we just did Ontario, Charlotte, North Carolina. At one point, I created this little drop-down list because I started to make a video and I just couldn't see any loads. And so these are basically older requests from people. I know I got a whole bunch of newer ones. I'll try and get to them. But this was already formatted because I started to make a video, and I just thought I was doing something wrong because holy cow, you can't hardly see any loads. In the Charlotte area, it shows a whopping 2, and I know that area is a busy market. If I remember correctly, they do have box trucks there, and there's a lot of power only in that market. There wasn't a whole lot of trailer required, but that CLT2 is a very busy place, and so again, surprises me there isn't more loads. But let's just go into it. We have 396 miles. That is a round trip. Power only, pays $1.37 mile for a total of $5.05. So 11 hours. Basically, it's going to take up your whole day for $500. You should be making double that. Here's another one, Mills River, North Carolina, going to Baltimore, Maryland. Power only. It's a one-way with a drop in the middle, it looks like, because it starts at 1 and ends at 3. So there you can see it kind of meanders back and forth. So you're looking at a total of $529 on the miles, and you're going to get $1,100 for your trouble. I can tell you, back in the day, going from like Dallas to Memphis, a cheap load that you didn't want was like $1,300. A good rate was like $1,800, and then an excellent rate was if you could get more than $2,000 for that, and it was a 500-mile load. And so the loads are definitely getting harder to come by and cheaper. So here's one that's out of the range. Basically, it's over 100 miles away, so the deadhead is longer. Granger, North Carolina, heading to Greenwood, Indiana. We're looking at 1,396 total miles, 2 days and 5 hours to do that, at $1.68 a mile, $23.50. You know, a lot of really bad rates, guys. And like I say, from what I'm hearing and reading on the different groups, it kind of seems like they have gone to post a truck as the preferred, and maybe they're doing it so people like me can't expose them on how bad their rates are, or maybe they're doing it to keep people in the dark. I have this belief that if you join Amazon and you've never been in business before and you've never been a carrier before, but because you see YouTube videos where people are like, hey, I'm with Amazon, hey, look at me, I'm hauling Amazon, hey, look, Amazon, and you know, they show you a picture of the front of their house and they're like, I bought this house with Amazon money. And I'm not trying to like single anyone out, but they're making you believe that Amazon is the meal ticket. And so then you jump in and you really don't understand business. You don't understand the trucking business, but you got on with Amazon, and because their application makes it easy to book loads and go do them, they get cheaper and cheaper progressively, and you won't let go of the work for fear of not having work, and progressively you make less and less money. That's just kind of my vibe on it. And so San Antonio has nothing. I don't remember who asked me for San Antonio, but it's just not a great market. Looks like there's something in Honolulu if anybody wants to go grab themselves one of those. 1.6 miles for $167 a mile. So you know, there's $300 you could make in, you know, according to them, in 2 hours. That kind of means you're making, you know, almost $150 an hour. That's how it should be. And so filtered this way, looks like it'll show me 287 loads. And so let's see, if we remove the block, it'll let us filter, and we want to go anywhere. And then let's filter price per distance highest. So the Honolulu one, there's another Honolulu. Very short moves. I mean, like I was saying earlier, you know, if you could book these and do 3 of these back to back, you know, there's a day's worth of work. But of course, I've been to Hawaii a couple times, and this was years ago, and the guy driving our tour bus said he had 2 other jobs. Him and his wife lived in one room in a house that had 4 bedrooms, and 4 different couples each rented a room so they could afford their insanely priced rent. and I know that you guys didn't tune in for my class on economics on Hawaii, but that just struck me as bizarre, because this guy was working an ungodly amount of hours and his rent was more than my house payment. Anyway, so here is that one's a mistake. Moreno Valley at $12 a mile. These are all short though. I guess I should have filtered how much money it is. So Erie, Pennsylvania to Hazleton, Pennsylvania, it's 314 miles. It pays $4.58 per mile. This is a trailer required. They need this tonight. See, these are the kind of loads that I'm talking about. Surprising that a vendor actually wants to load tonight, because this is a third-party location. In other words, it's not an Amazon facility. But hey, if someone wants to go grind on a Sunday night, there's $1,400 for 314 miles. and looks like they need more than one truck, because there's another load that's kind of a duplicate. There's a load from Ohio to Hazleton, Pennsylvania, 280 miles at almost $4 a mile, $1,100, and that one also loads today. There's another one, same thing. There's a load from Connecticut to Maryland, also loads today, 268 miles for power only at just under $4 a mile. See, these are the kind of loads you guys want. These are, if they're consistent, if these happen regularly, these are where you can make money with Amazon. So there's 300 miles at $376 per mile. So for 300 miles, you'll make $1,000. That one's borderline cheap, but you know, if you don't mind grinding on a Sunday, there's $1,000. There is Des Moines, Iowa, heading out to Joliet, Illinois. 316 miles at $316 per mile is $1,000. These are all trailer required, and that's possibly why the rates are a little bit better. And so there's another, that's a duplicate of the last one. We looked at this one already. We looked at that one already. Those are the Phoenix teams. There's Henderson, Nevada, going to MI. Which state is MI? Wow, I just brain faded. Yeah, you guys will have to excuse me. Anyway, so we have almost 2,000 miles at $280 per mile. Still a little cheap in my mind, but you know, for some that's a good load. So there's a Jersey to Jersey. It's not exactly a round trip. It starts at one place and ends at another, but they're probably pretty close to each other. 558 on the miles at almost $3 a mile. That one also loads today. In fact, it loads really soon here. That's work. I'd do that. I mean, if I was doing power only type stuff, that's a doable deal. Miraloma to Reno. This one is a power only. It looks like there's a stop in the middle at just under $3 a mile. The drawback is you're going to struggle to get out of Reno. Reno's always difficult. Baton Rouge to Alabama. This one is a team's load. Not really sure why they're asking for a team on a load that's under it's under 400 miles, but it says it's going to take 18 hours, probably because they know they're going to hold you up somewhere. 268 per mile, and it's $1,000. $1,000 for a day for a team load is not worth it, because how do you split up $1,000 between two? That's 500, and if you're paying the team on a percentage, that's a very low. That's very low pay to try and split up between a team operation. You'd have to be like a husband and wife and just consider you're sharing your money too. So there's 1,200 miles, Henderson to Grapevine. We looked at that one earlier, I believe. Phoenix, we looked at. We looked at the San Bernardino stuff. We looked at the Rialto stuff. There's a North Carolina to Maryland at $213 per mile. And from there it kind of goes down. So as you can see, the rates are not great, guys. And the loads are becoming slim pickings. If any of you are on with Amazon and you're booking loads, comment below just so I can kind of tell other viewers, is everything switching over to post a truck? Are you finding you get loads every day? Are they the kind of loads you really want? Are they sending you where you want to go? That kind of thing. I'm just not sure that the way they formatted everything, if my videos are really going to help people find what they're looking for. But anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching. I do appreciate all the new subscribers. We're just under 2,000 now. Pretty awesome considering I kind of abandoned you guys for like the last month. Been a little bit crazy and busy over here, but I'll try and get videos out to you a little bit more consistently. Again, thanks for watching.